Good morning. Had to wait for Miss Thing to come in and sit down. She's trying to slide in under the wire. Okay. Hi. Good morning. My name is Reverend Davine. I will be your cruise ship director today. And for those of you that thought you signed up for a specific cruise, let me let you know which cruise you're on. You're on the cruise of it is better for forgiveness than to receive. And if you thought you were on a different cruise, that's okay. Just stay on this one. And I'm certain the waters will not be choppy and we'll have a really good time. So everybody, just allow yourself to hear some things that are not new. Nothing really is new. It's just a different spin and where you are and how you're willing to receive it. And I say that because when we prayed in this morning, Kathy reminded us that we're in between. We are at the end of the year. We're in the last Sunday of the month, the last Sunday of the year. And for many people, what that means is that you start to reflect on what I like to call the New Year's resolution. Oh, exactly, the New Year's resolution. And it's interesting because we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to get that right. You know, it's a brand new baby year, and we want to get it right. Is there anyone in here besides me that at some point in your life has done, or still does, a New Year's resolution? Oh, good, I'm not by myself. Excellent. Well, there's usually a few really popular themes on New Year's resolutions. And I could name mine, but I'm more interested in somebody throwing out one of theirs. It's kind of like that show, The Family Feud, where you get the X's, so I'm certain we won't get any X's at all. Somebody throw out the most common for them year after year in their New Year's resolution.
Lose weight. Go back to the gym. Take a walk every day.
Those are mine. Okay, good. See, I knew that you would all just shout out the same things that I do. And what I love about the whole concept of a New Year's resolution is we really have in our mind and in our heart this desire to start over in the new year, to start fresh. But we do the same thing. We start with the thing we did last year. And many of us, we sign up for the gym membership, which we had last year, by the way, and they probably don't remember us because we only went for maybe a month or two. We still gave them money every month, mostly because we felt too embarrassed and guilty about ourselves not going to the gym. Personally, if I'm going to spend that money doing something to make me feel good, and I'm not going to the gym, I'd rather give it to my church home, because at least they make me feel good here and I'm on track, okay? As opposed to I give them a monthly membership and I don't go. Diet's another big one. I think these are hardwired from society. We're supposed to do these things. We're supposed to set these intentions. And the thing about it, we set ourselves up to fail because every year we're doing the same thing. Okay, and then we beat ourselves up about it. And we're frustrated and we're mad. And then there's a whole level of ridicule that comes from, I knew I was going to do this. I did this last year. So I want to encourage you to replace the concept of a resolution with a declaration. First of all, a declaration sounds to me a little more happy, a little more positive, something I might actually work with. And if the declaration is something that you do for yourself that you can honor, not something you should do, not something that somebody else told you you should do, but something that you would really enjoy the process of doing. Just the word diet makes me cringe. I can't stand the concept of celery and carrots at all. Now, they're wonderful food groups, but when you're served that to snack on, it's like, ew. And how am I getting excited about that? And so we start the pattern again. So if we're starting a new year, we have new opportunities to come up with some new patterns. All month long, Reverend Abigail's talked about forgiveness in some capacity. And many of you are probably thinking, well, why do we have to still talk about it? Because we're probably going to spend the remainder of our life layers on layers on layers of working at it. Partly because we don't start with ourself. If we don't find ways to be in forgiveness with ourself, how can we possibly set up a conversation with somebody we won't regret? And then we have the need for forgiveness. I now need to forgive you for something I said in the heat of the moment because I was upset. And now I need to forgive you or accept your forgiveness for me. And it's a round and round rotation. And all we do is hang on to the story. As I was planning my talk last night, I had a very, very dear friend call me. This story went on for a moment or two, and I just said, stop. I said, just do you. I don't want to hear about what's going on with you and this other person. Just do you. Case closed. Got a call back a little later on. I'm sorry. Here's the chain. And I laughed. I said, thanks for supporting the process of my talk for tomorrow. Because you see, if we constantly start this loop round and round and round of needs for forgiveness, then we're really not looking inside ourselves. We're not taking the time to have a deep love affair with ourself. And I'm certain Reverend Abigail gets this also, I get a lot of prayer requests and counsel sessions around, I want to have a loving relationship. And I want to smile back to them and say, so do I. But right now, I need to work on having one with me, okay? Because if I don't have one with me, how can I have one with thee? I mean, seriously. So in forgiveness, if we start to take the layers of where we want to be with ourselves, how many times do you have a conversation with yourself where it's full of judgment, criticism, nasty snide remarks? I had one last night. Okay, I'm not supposed to have any of these because as a minister, I'm never supposed to make a mistake, blow it in any way. The halo is on tight. I got, the big Rev in the house watching me, and so no pressure on. But the truth is, if we're going to start the new year, set up on the pathway, remember I said the waters would not be choppy, they'd be smooth. We're sailing on the cruise ship of forgiveness to thyself. I would love to just read you a couple of quick quotes. This is by Norman Cousins. Love is an adventure in forgiveness. We're doing it all the time, so stop tripping out on the fact that, I thought I already did all the work. You did, to the extent you were willing to at that day. Now we're on a new day. So as I said last night, I had a new neighbor moving in. The neighbor I had before was very quiet. I had no idea I had a neighbor, although I did see her periodically. This guy starts doing the drill and the hammering at about 10 o'clock at night. I saw him, so I knew it was a guy. And I thought, not everyone goes nee-nee at 10 o'clock, honey, so, be a little chilled out and allow him to do his process. Drills are amped up at about 10:45, and I'm thinking, should I go over and say, I hope that we can get this sort of handled by 11 o'clock because I go to bed? I sat with that for a few minutes, and I was in that position, the posture position of... And I smiled and said, not everyone goes to bed really early, honey, okay? Breathe. Leave it alone. Next quote. This one is from Joan London. Holding on to anger, resentment, and hurt only gives you tense muscles, headaches, and a sore jaw from clenching your teeth. Forgiveness gives you back laughter, lightheartedness, and ways to fill your life with joy. I think I want to choose that one instead. So I said to myself, you know what? Chill out. And I went to bed. But I went to bed with the little mind chatter that said, you know, you're going to get up and go bang on his door. And I stopped myself because, again, I'm having this chatter, but it's at me. I'm being critical to me, although it might appear that it's the neighbor on the other side of the wall that doesn't know me. And I just stopped myself and said, sweetie. And I do like to call myself sweetie. Because if I can call myself sweetie, if I can have a loving way of dialoguing with me, then certainly I'll be more mindful of how I have a tone with others, and there'll be less need for jaw clenching and the night guard that I wear at night so I don't grind through my jaw. I do wear one, and I hear myself at night, and it's like, oh my God. So I've decided that this new year I'm going to work much more on having a loving and kind relationship with me. And how it starts is at about a little while where this guy was doing his handyman work, and then he would stop and talk with his friend for a while. It's called having a normal life. Really, someone's helped you move. Maybe this is the only time he had available to help his friend. Yay! So they're doing this whole thing, and then it would get quiet. And I'd doze to sleep. And then I'd hear the drilling was right on the baseboard on the other side of my wall. I'm amazed the dog was sleeping through this. I'm just like... And after a few more minutes, I realized they're oblivious. They really don't know anyone is on the other side of the wall. And why are you being upset about it? And I went, bam, bam, bam. And it actually hurt my wrist. I did think about you because it would be something you would do. I said to myself, oh my gosh, you're just hurting your wrist. It got silent, totally silent. And I stopped and thought, oh, awesome. And I then took a quick moment, a little judgment there, about, you could have done that 45 minutes ago. And I just stopped and said, stop. So I urge you, if you want to have a new year that is going to serve you well, first of all, the declaration that you want to give to yourself is not on the ones you've done in the past 15 years that have not worked well. Don't do it. Unless you really see yourself doing it differently, don't do it. But find a way to have a new relationship with yourself. If you catch yourself in judgment of you, if you catch yourself speaking to you in a nasty tone, stupid idiot, just stop. Stop and say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. It's just that easy. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. I did something that no one will be able to relate to at all. And I know you're probably thinking, what does this have to do with forgiveness? I use a rice cooker, and I've used it for years. And I was making dinner. And I took everything out and prepared it and poured the quinoa right into the machine, not into the pan of the rice cooker. And I poured the water right into the machine, not into the rice cooker. It's running all over the counter. I've been working on my talk about self-forgiveness and nice talk to myself. Yes? Yes. And I'm looking at it and it's just like, how did that happen? This would have been the perfect opportunity to say everything possible to myself at that moment as I ruined the rice cooker. Because then when I went to dump it all out into the pan thinking I would salvage it, if I looked right inside, it says, do not immerse in water. You think? Do not immerse in water. So I had, just within 24 hours, lovely opportunities to catch myself in this moment of nasty, nasty, nasty conversation with myself. You want to know why we're still talking about forgiveness. Ernest Holmes says, too often our minds are so burdened because of the mistakes we've made that we don't take the time to forgive ourselves or to forgive others and start again. It's like new moment, new time. Press the restart button. Regroup. You said something not nice about yourself? Cancel. Start it over again. You say something not nice about yourself? Catching yourself realizing, I do this a lot more than I knew. The more you forgive you, the more you have a new dialogue, a love affair with you. And the songs we were singing, perfect for that. John Sharma spoke about that on the inspirational message. The more we find a way to embrace love for self and a positive, forgiving attitude for self, the less we'll have an overflowing of words for forgiveness with others. The greater the deepening of feeling joy, of feeling peace, as Karen Drucker sung, as we sung along with her, the more we have an opportunity to just realize whatever's going on outside with other people that creates needs for us to forgive are because we're still harboring resentment, anger, and shame about a story we bought years ago from someone else that told us we were less than that we were not whole, complete, perfect beings of light. We bought that ticket. We don't know when we bought it. We did buy it. And we've just been spinning round and round on the journey of this is not the truth of who I am. And in this new year, I want you, if you care about yourself, to catch yourself in remembering, I am the daughter, the son of the beloved. That divine spirit, which I call God, Infinite One, dwells within me. Dwells in with me and created me in its image. That means I am whole, perfect, and complete. That means I am joy-filled. That means that I accept the bounty of the kingdom provided for me if I'm willing to step up and say yes to it. And it can only happen when we go inside, see that about ourselves, and start working on that loving, forgiving relationship. And if we don't know how, which is why most of us stay on the merry-go-round of the circle of the story that we tell, the victim story, that we all have one that we pull out for a special occasion and we repeat it to anyone that may not have heard it, or someone that probably heard it over and over, like the phone call I got last night. It's just like this. It's time to learn new tools. That's why we come to centers like this. Because if we want to remove something that didn't work, we have to know what to put in place. We can't just have a void. We have to put something in place. And if we don't know what else to put in place, we spin around with the old. So for the New Year's demonstration, we provide tools. And that's why we come to centers, and that's why we take classes. To remember the tools. Oh yeah, I had that one in my belt all along. I forgot that one. We have tools. Some of them we've gotten rusty. Some of them we've overworked. Sometimes it's time to replace a tool. And we don't know. So if we take classes, it helps us keep open, receptive, and teachable to how to be with ourselves on a regular basis. You know, we just finished Christmas. I am whole. We just finished Christmas and we finished Hanukkah, and we're in the third day/night of Kwanzaa. I know it's going to seem really random, like what the heck does that have to do with anything? Because it's part of our culture, it's part of our community, it is part of going into the new year. And Kwanzaa is a predominantly African American holiday that was created in the 60s during the Black Power movement. It is celebrated as a form of community and enriching and empowering the community. And I'm only bringing it up because today is the third day. They have 7 principles, 7 days, and they light candles and do ceremony around each day. This one is called Ujima. It's collective work and responsibility to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems to solve together. I'm not talking about sharing your stories with each other. I'm talking about if we come to centers like this to meet like-minded people to hang around with, then we're continuously raised up. We're continuously moving upward and onward in our own evolution of good. When we take classes, we meet new people also, and we develop friendships so the people around us support us. If we backpedal a little bit, they lovingly, gently remind us. If we get ready to go full-fledged off the cart, they gently just grab our hand, lift us up. They don't ridicule us and judge us. That's why we practice this teaching. That's why we practice this philosophy. That's why we're here today when we could be anywhere else. To remind ourselves before we go into the new year that we are whole, perfect, and complete beings of love and light, and we are here to shine brightly. And we are here to know that as we shine brightly, all is well. All is very well. And we don't need to create disharmony and disease in our bodies and our spirits and in our minds, because we've allowed the collectivity of the community to keep us uplifted and afloat. So regardless of what you do for the new year, try your best. If you get ready to go down the path of doing something that was the old habit, just stop yourself and say, no, brand new year, new moment, new time, I'm going to try something different. Honestly and truly, I bet if you just sit quietly in meditation, in reflection, there'll be at least one thing immediately that comes to mind, and you'll say, that's the one I'll do. And if it's one of the old ones, call it something different. But make sure it's something you really want to do, not as a habit. So with that, let's just go inward and let's pray.